Right, in this lesson I'm going to show you how to brief your editors. It's super simple, and this is why it's super important to actually hire a good editor if it's you that's hiring them. If you've got a brand that you're working with, just make sure that their editor is kind of on board and you give them reference ads. That's probably the most important thing. You kind of need a reference ad to show them the style that you want. It doesn't need to be in the same industry, the same niche, but ideally you need a reference ad. Now, I'm going to add this little checklist in because the editor should go through and check this off. Does the scene change every 3 to 5 seconds? We need to make it snappy. Are we using B-roll and assets that make sense for the ICP? So if we're trying to sell to women in their late 50s, don't use B-roll of a young guy in the gym. Do we have clear, readable subtitles visible at all times? That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, this one as well. If we're using an AI creator, are we using the content sparingly with effects like green screen and split screen? The reason that we're doing that is because we're kind of trying to hide that it's AI, okay? Does the music fit well with the script? And is it not too loud, right? We need like, is it uplifting, sad? Like, what's the kind of tone that we're trying to do? So these are the checklists that I get the editor to run through. And now, a lot of the time, I will literally just give them the script and the assets and the videos and like if it's an 11 Labs voice or whatever it is, I just give them it all and then that's it, it's done. But that's before my editor who kind of knows what he's doing at this point, whereas some editors you're going to need to give them more direction. So the way that we do that is we use this editing brief prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over at Claude, copy and paste that in. We're going to take our entire VSL, we're going to paste that in. We're going to take our entire brief and we're going to paste the entire brief in as well. Now you'll see how this comes out. This is basically going to give it this is going to be like a brief if you really need to tell them what to do. So here we go. I needed coffee to function, but it made me feel awful. Turns out I didn't have to choose between energy and feeling good. Close up of a relatable person. Right. Now, right away, we've literally just written this VSL, so we know that this isn't going to be right. But a lot of the time, what I'll do is I'll actually do this manually. Because especially in the first hook part, these hooks, we need to have these like dialed in. And a lot of the time what I'll do is if I'm changing the script, I won't change the visual. The visual will be the exact same, it'll just be the script that's different. Or I'll keep the script the same and then change the visuals. But because this is like a UGC style, what I might need to do is re-prompt this and say, because like right here it's like close-up of relatable person looking directly at the camera with genuine expression. Like for that we don't need that, we literally just need the creator saying what they're saying. So we need to kind of go through and re-prompt this. So what I'm going to do is, you can actually do that in your first prompt as well, but I'm going to write this out and I'll say, for part, we have a creator that's speaking this script. So bear that in mind, although we still want some B-roll and animations. But what you really need to do is kind of go through this and make sure that all of, like, this is a prompt to get you going, but a lot of the time you're going to need to go through and make sure that this is actually going to make sense, because there's going to be some parts like side-by-side animation left shows caffeine molecules. Like, that's actually not too bad. And you can actually use this to then go and create the AI video parts that's in the next lesson. Like if there's certain parts in here, like this one, an animated brain network graphics showing neural pathways lighten up, use particle effects. Like we can then put that into Google VO3 and actually get this made. But we would just say that, and then this script knows that there's a UGC creator actually saying the stuff. There we go. Creator speaking directly to the camera. And again, this is where your loom instructions are going to come in. Really, like, they're super important, because for this part, again, it's really dependent on your editor. But this is typically how I would brief my editor. I would give them this, and then I would give them something similar to this. But the main part is you literally need to go through every single visual and make sure that it's going to look good and that it makes sense. And make sure that if you've got a bunch of, like if there's loads of parts where it says like an animation, you need to make sure that you've got those animations and you give it to the brief, the editor. And what I'll also do is, like, when this is finished, I'll show you, we'll pick out some of the animations, then I'll name that animation and I'll name that in the Google Drive as that animation. So hopefully I've got one in here and I can literally just grab it. So I'm going to take this over, I'm going to put it in here. So there we've got our brief. Sometimes I'll add in the script as well, so that they've just got the plain script. But let's say, let's try and find like an animation. Creator. There we go, right, so like this part here. So what I would do is, because I use Notion, I would actually comment in here and be like, this is animation 4B in the drive. Then I would like, then they know that this part is, they would look at this comment and they're like, oh, that's animation 4. And then in the Google Drive, I name that animation B4. Now, like I said, at this point, I don't need to do this too much because the editors know what I'm meaning when I add certain parts, but this is why it's important to actually go through this entire brief and pull out every single visual and go, right, do we have this? Do we have this piece of content? Do we have this animation? Can we get this made? And then you're going to go ahead and give it to the editor. So that is basically the full briefing section. In the next videos, or it'll probably be in the bonus videos, I'm going to show you how to actually create like animations with HeyGen. There's going to be a little HeyGen module, and obviously in the next module I'm going to show you how to create animations with Google VO3, which is pretty insane. But yeah, unfortunately for this part, you do need to get very manual with it. This is just not copy and paste. You need to go through this and make sure that you've either got the content, you can get the content, or you can make the content with AI. And again, there's lots of other parts where like sometimes the editor's not going to need all of this. They're going to know. Like I always say to them, this is the brief. This isn't instructions, right? Because then they might have a better idea. They're the editor. They might have a better idea than like what's actually said here. But yeah, that is pretty much the briefing process. So I will see you guys in the next lesson where we're going to go over how to create some stuff in Google VO3.